to another edition of Talking Ball with the Czar. I'm Emery Hunt, the Czar of the Playbook, here on the campus of Malone University in Canton, Ohio, with head football coach Fred Thomas. Coach, I appreciate you taking time.
No problem. Pleasure having you on campus.
This was your first college head coaching job. After being a long-time high school coach, successful high school coach in the area, last year was your first season. What did you learn? What has been the difference from being a college head coach as opposed to a high school head coach?
I think one of the big things obviously is recruiting. In the high school level, you coach the young men that are coming into you, and in high school you get young kids that really are young and sort of immature, and hopefully they leave you as a young adult. Here, the kids report they're already young adults. They're already set in their ways, and I think the biggest thing is trying to change a mindset of the kids that are already on campus and the kids that are coming on campus. The other thing is there's more variables to it. You have to worry about where we're going to practice here because of our practice facilities, the game days, travel. There's a lot more organizational stuff to do at the college level than at the high school level. At the high school level, you have your camp organization, you have your weightlifting organization, but here it's you have to worry about travel, and travel is meals. So the organizational part is a lot different than high school. The other thing is dealing with the staff. All of our coaches are professional coaches here, whereas in high school, you may have other people that don't work in the schools and to organize a staff. So having a full-time staff who are trying to build resumes and build up the profession, that's a lot different in the college level too, because you want to help those guys move on. Where in high school, a lot of guys are local guys that are set and they're not going to move, and they know what they want to do, and that's been a big difference for me.
Now, you mentioned the recruiting part. I think that's interesting because a lot of college coaches tend to have issues with recruiting because of the talking to parents, talking to kids at that level, despite being able to deal with guys at that level when you get them into college. But you have that unique path of meeting with parents before you came to this situation. Has that helped you out in recruiting?
Yeah, most definitely. I think, when I was a teacher, I taught all the way down to first grade.
Okay.
So I've dealt with parents at parent-teacher conferences, dealt with parents at other avenues and other venues. And the other thing is, I'm an older guy, so I just tell them the way it is. I think that helps you because I'm not looking for a resume builder. I'm looking to build a program. And so when we sit parents down, it's a little easier at this stage of my life, where here's what our university is. We hope your son fits into what we do here at the university, football-wise, socially, academically, and we just lay it out for them. And it's a little easier when you're older and you know that I'm not leaving Canton, Ohio. I love it here. I'm born and raised here. It's a lot easier that way to talk to parents because I just tell them, we lay it out and tell them, here's what we do at Malone and here's our program. And that's a lot different. But when you've done it at parent-teacher conferences, you've done it, where students, I've had science students or health students that were failing, and when I was a teacher, it was hard. Those are hard conversations to have. So I've had experience giving those hard talks, and I think that part of the recruiting is good because we try to make it individualized. We bring in, we didn't do group recruiting, we do individual, so I get a chance to meet with every young man and every parent, and I think that's helping us in recruiting. I think our recruiting, hopefully this year's class is a little bit better, and we can keep growing that way.
Coach, your foundation has been laid defensively. You've been an outstanding defensive coach throughout the course of your career as an assistant in college, at the high school level, and now in today's day and age of the spread offense, the up-tempo offense, no huddle. How important is it to have a foundation for a program laid from a defensive perspective?
Well, most head coaches have an offensive background. Most of them do, but I've always been on defense. I was very fortunate. My first coaching job was with Bill Narduzzi at Youngstown State, and he was a defensive genius, in my opinion. And so I've always been on the defensive side. I think our offensive coaches like it because I just tell them, hey, go for it on fourth, or 4 downs to get first down, or we're in 4-down territory. And I try to stay out of Dustin Miller's way. Defensively, the game has evolved, and the game has changed a great deal. And I think one of the things that younger coaches do is they try to experiment or they try to do a lot of things with the modern offense. I'm just the opposite philosophy. I think the more the offense gives you, the less you do defensively. And I think we've got a great young coaching staff on the defensive side of the ball, and I think it helps them a little bit calm down a little bit when they see all the formations, they see all the different plays, because of my philosophy. If they do more, you do a little less defensively, because you can't show your kids all the looks. You can't show them all the looks of this modern offense if you run 7-8 different defenses. So we're very simple defensively. know your responsibility and get to the football. And we try to keep it that way. And I think that's a little bit more of my experience being older. There are games when I was a coordinator, we'd run one or two defenses the whole game. And because during the week of practice, you have to show your kids what to expect. If you don't do that, they're going to get surprised on Saturday, and that slows them down. And defensively now, with the offenses the way they are, you better run, and you have to run fast. And the more you think, the slower you run. So we try to take all the thinking out of it by being very simple defensively.
And does that help these guys? You talked about playing fast. Does that help these guys develop that physical mindset? Because when you see an offensive team or a heavy offensive squad, when it comes to a physical discussion on Saturday, sometimes they can't handle it. But a defensive team, more than likely, is well prepared for that opportunity.
Yeah, one of the things it does, it speeds your game up defensively. It makes you faster defensively, and if you're faster, you're not thinking. You'll hit a little harder. You get to the ball a little faster. And I think by not having kids think a lot, by being simple scheme-wise, not having kids think a lot, I think it helps you defensively become more physical, because it's a physical game, and become faster. And in the spread situation, it's huge, because modern day offenses, if you think 1 second, you're beat, you're done. It's a touchdown or it's a big play. So we've tried to eliminate that with our practice sessions, but to do that, we cut back what we do.
Coach, we're in a football hotbed, and it's interesting that this is a program that is fairly new. 1993 was when they first started. So how important is it to you to establish a football tradition here?
Well, as you said, we're sitting about a quarter mile away from the Pro Football Hall of Fame. In my eyes, this is obviously this birthplace of pro football. It's real important. It's real important to our community. We're the only college in Canton, Ohio that has football, in the city limits of Canton that has football. And Canton's a proud town. And if you drive down the streets, you see football helmets painted on the streets, the parade route. You go downtown, you see statues of Jim Thorpe and pictures on the walls. And it's real important. It's also important for our university, because of people love winners. That's our society, and there's nothing wrong with that. And when we turn this program around, I think it'll help our whole student body get more involved. It'll help our school grow. We're like no different than any other small private school in the country. It's an enrollment thing, and trying to stay open, truthfully. And I think by bringing a good football program in, by being successful football-wise, it makes the whole school flourish. And that's part of our goal here is to make this whole school flourish that way. And we are in a football hotbed. When you play at Tom Benson Field, that's important. When we take recruits in, that's where we go. We just show them it's, truthfully within walking distance of where we're sitting. And our campus knows that. And when they offered me the job, I told them there's three factors you need. We need a coaching staff that wants to work and hustle, and we've gotten that. I'm real happy with that. We need to keep the players to buy in, and I think our players have bought in. And our players have bought in. We have senior president, vice president, senior class are both football players, because we want them to be active in our school community. And then the administration has to buy in, and they've been great so far, helping us try to put this thing together and get it back on track, because it means a great deal to our city, and it means a great deal to our campus.
Coach, you mentioned you're a Canton lifer, born and raised here, you're coaching here now, walking distance from the Hall of Fame, like you mentioned. What is it about the game of football that you love the most?
I think it simulates life. I think the game of football, like no other game, except for maybe wrestling, you're going to get knocked down. You're going to get knocked down, you're going to get knocked on the seat of your pants, you're going to have struggles through a game, through a practice, and that's no different than life. In your life, you have struggles every day. How are we going to pay the bills? How are we going to feed our kids? How are we going to clothe our children? How are we going to make the car payments? Those are lifelong struggles. And in football, I think one thing that football has taught me, and I tell our guys all the time, what it teaches you is when you get knocked down, you can't quit. You can't just lay on the ground. You got to get up, and you got to pull your straps up, get your boots back on or your spikes, and you got to move on. And it teaches you how to handle that adversity. And I think that's the greatest thing about the sport of football. It's the greatest team sport known to man, in my opinion. And two guys I worked with, Bill Narduzzi and Jim Dennison, have said that to their teams, and we say it to ours. It's a sport where if the right guard doesn't do his job, you're not going to be successful. If the quarterback or running back don't do their job, you're not going to be successful. Same thing defensively. If the defensive line doesn't get pressure on the quarterback, you're not going to have a pass defense. And it teaches you teamwork, it teaches you how to work together, but it also teaches you how to handle adversity. And in our society now, and growing up, you have more adversity. You have more bad days than you have good days as an adult. And I mentioned that in recruiting, and I mentioned that to our players with their parents with them. Your parents have more bad days than good days as an adult. In football, you might have more bad plays than good plays, but you have to respond. And the people who you pay your bills to, them, they don't care about your struggles. They want their payment. So your parents have to get back up and get back working. And if they lose their job, they got to find a way to find it. And I think that all is brought to you in football. I think it's all in a life lesson.
And those lessons that you're talking about, do that help formulate your coaching philosophy and what you're able to teach these guys?
Absolutely. And we put our kids in situations where they have their backs to the wall. We do a lot of situational stuff at practice because your back's to the wall and you've got to respond. And how are you going to respond? And I've always said that sports and football in particular doesn't build character. I think it reveals your character. And if it reveals it, well, you're going to just say, okay, you're done. You got to work on that, and you got to find a way to change that in your personal life, and in the way you handle adversity. And it will reveal. There's some time in camp, everybody's character and everybody's attitude will get revealed, coaches and players. And how do you respond? Do you respond positively and start working a little harder, or do you just say, well, I can't do anymore? And that's not what we want. We want guys to respond with positive, saying, I'm going to work, I'm going to find a way to get the job done. And we preach that a lot in our program.
Coach, you've been around the block a long time, so you remember how it used to be as far as recruiting. Kids only had regional options, so to speak, maybe a few national options, but it feels like nowadays the world has become smaller, so there's a ton of options thanks to the internet, and kids are making more informed decisions. So why would a student athlete choose Malone?
I think the biggest thing that helps Malone is it cares about its people. You come to Malone, you're not a number. You're not just a science student. You're a person. Our class sizes are small. The professors, they have kids over their house. It's more of a personalized touch. It's more of a personal growth thing. It's a growth spiritually. It's a growth academically. It's a growth football-wise. I really think that it's a great school as far as building young people, because if you have a problem, there are people here that will listen to you. There are people here that care about you. And I've been in a lot of good schools, I really have, but this place is a little special that way. There's a lot of places that, just because of sheer numbers or just because of the way the schools run, they don't have that. Malone University is very, very good to help build young people. And they try to help you work through problems, not just say, oh, you have a problem. They help you build and work through your problems and help you solve problems. And I think if you learn that at the college age and they help you get through it, down the road you'll help someone else get through it and help somebody else mature. And I think Malone does a good job of that.
You guys have done a good job so far, and I know track record will follow you. Your success in high school, your success dealing with the defense. I know this season you're going to get this thing turned around and moving forward. You're going to build this thing into what you wanted to be, a proud football tradition-rich program. So I thank you for taking time. And I really
Thanks for stopping in. It's awesome. It's awesome.
I love the campus, man.
Awesome.
You sold me.
It's a nice place. Yeah, it's a nice place. It really is. It's an awesome place to be.